Have you ever wondered how rock candy is made? This sweet, crystalline confection has been delighting taste buds for centuries, with its origins dating back to ancient times. Beloved by children and adults alike, this sweet is not only a popular treat, but also a fascinating example of crystallization in action. In this video, we'll take you through every step of the sweet manufacturing process, from the initial sourcing of raw materials to the final packaging and distribution of this sparkling sweet. Let's begin by exploring where the raw materials for rock candy come from. The primary ingredient in this treat is, of course, sugar. Most manufacturers source their ingredients from beet or cane farms. Sugar beets are typically grown in temperate regions, such as parts of Europe and North America, while cane thrives in tropical and subtropical climates like Brazil, India, and Thailand. The choice between beet and cane often depends on the factory's location and local agricultural practices. Interestingly, beet and cane produce chemically identical sucrose, so the end product is the same regardless of the source. Once harvested, the beets or cane are processed at sugar refineries to extract pure, granulated sweeteners. This refined sugar is then delivered to the factory in large sacks or bulk containers. Before the sugar can be used to make rock candy, it undergoes a thorough cleaning and preparation process. This step is crucial to ensure the highest quality end product and to remove any potential contaminants. The sweetener is first passed through a series of fine sieves to remove any large particles or foreign objects that may have been introduced during transport or storage. These sieves are typically made of stainless steel and have progressively smaller mesh sizes to catch even minute impurities. After sieving, the sugar is often subjected to a magnetic separation process. This involves passing the sweetener through a powerful magnetic field that attracts and removes any metallic particles that may have escaped the sieving process. Following this, the sugar may be further purified through a process called air classification. In this method, the sweetener is blown through a vertical chamber where heavier particles fall to the bottom, while lighter, purer crystals are carried to the top and collected. The cleaned sweetener is then stored in large sanitized containers ready for the next stage of production. Meanwhile, the water used in this sweet-making process undergoes rigorous purification. It's typically filtered through activated carbon filters to remove chlorine and other impurities, then passed through ultraviolet light systems to eliminate any remaining bacteria or microorganisms. Some factories may also use reverse osmosis systems for additional purification. The purified water is then stored in sterile tanks, ready for use in the candy-making process. If colorings or flavorings are to be used, these are also prepared at this stage. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our upcoming videos. Now we come to the primary processing stage, where the magic of rock candy creation truly begins. This stage is all about creating a supersaturated sugar solution and encouraging controlled crystal growth. The process starts by combining the purified sweetener and water in large stainless steel vats. The ratio of sugar to water is crucial and is carefully controlled to achieve the right level of supersaturation. Typically, the solution contains about 2 parts sweetener to 1 part water by weight. The mixture is then heated to a temperature of around 115 degrees Celsius. This high temperature allows more sugar to dissolve in the water than would be possible at room temperature, creating a supersaturated solution. The heating process is carefully monitored and controlled using precise thermometers and automated systems to ensure consistency. As the solution heats, it's continuously stirred to help the sugar dissolve evenly and prevent any burning or caramelization at the bottom of the vat. Once all the sugar has dissolved and the solution has reached the target temperature, it's time to begin the cooling process. This is where the art of rock candy making comes into play. The solution needs to be cooled slowly and carefully to encourage the formation of large, well-formed sugar granules. Too rapid cooling can result in small, grainy crystals, while too slow cooling can lead to an overly sticky final product. The cooling process typically takes several hours and is often done overnight. During this time, the solution is transferred to large, shallow trays or tanks. These containers are specially designed with slightly rough surfaces that provide nucleation points for crystal formation. Some manufacturers use seed granules, small, preformed sugar crystals, to jumpstart the crystallization process. These seed granules are carefully suspended in the cooling solution on strings or sticks. As the solution cools and evaporates, sweetener molecules begin to come out of the solution and attach themselves to the seed granules or the container surfaces, gradually building larger and larger particles. This process can take anywhere from 3 to 7 days, depending on the desired size of the final granules. Throughout this time, the temperature and humidity of the crystallization room are carefully controlled to ensure optimal growth. An interesting fact about this stage is that the size of the final rock candy crystals can be influenced by factors such as the rate of cooling, the level of supersaturation, and even subtle vibrations in the crystallization room. Some high-end producers go to great lengths to isolate their crystallization rooms from any external vibrations that could disrupt formation. After the primary crystallization process, the produce undergoes a secondary processing or refining stage to enhance its quality and prepare it for packaging. The first step in this stage is harvesting the crystals from the crystallization trays. This is often done by hand to avoid damaging the delicate structures. Workers carefully remove the large clusters of sugar, which are often still attached to the strings or sticks used as nucleation points. These clusters are then gently separated into smaller pieces of the desired size. Any remaining syrup is drained off, and the particles are rinsed with a small amount of very cold water to remove any residual syrup without dissolving the crystals themselves. The rinsed crystals are then dried, typically using warm, circulating air in specially designed drying chambers. This drying process is crucial as it helps prevent the particles from sticking together during packaging and storage. The duration and temperature of the drying process are carefully controlled to achieve the right balance between removing excess moisture and preserving the structure. After drying, the rock candy undergoes a thorough inspection process. At this stage, if colored or flavored varieties are being produced, the crystals may be sprayed with food-grade coloring or flavoring solutions. This is done using fine mist sprayers to ensure even coverage without oversaturating the particles. The coated stones are then dried again before moving on to the next stage. Some manufacturers also tumble their rock candy in large rotating drums at this stage. This process helps to round off any sharp edges and give the crystals a more uniform appearance. The tumbling process can last anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours, depending on the desired finish. Once the rock candy has been refined and inspected, it moves on to the packaging stage. Packaging is crucial not only for preserving the quality of the product, but also for making it attractive to consumers. The first step in packaging is usually weighing the candy. Most of the product is sold in relatively small quantities, typically ranging from 50 grams to 1 kilogram. High-speed, precision weighing machines are used to ensure accurate portioning. These machines can often weigh and dispense hundreds of portions per minute. After weighing, the rock candy is transferred into its primary packaging. This is often a clear plastic bag or container that allows the attractive crystals to be visible to the consumer. The packaging material is carefully chosen to provide a barrier against moisture and contamination while also being food safe. Some high-end producers use glass jars for a more premium look and feel. The packaging process itself is typically automated, with machines filling and sealing the containers at high speed. However, some artisanal producers may still package their rock candy by hand for a more personal touch. Once in its primary packaging, the rock candy is often then placed in secondary packaging such as boxes or display cases. This secondary packaging provides additional protection during transport and storage, as well as space for branding and nutritional information. Many manufacturers use cardboard boxes made from recycled materials as part of their commitment to sustainability. The packaging process also includes labeling, which must comply with local food labeling regulations. Labels typically include information such as ingredients, nutritional facts, weight, best before date, and any allergen warnings. Some producers also include a brief description of how the product is made or suggestions for how to enjoy it. A typical packaging line in a large factory might be capable of packaging several thousand units per hour, with multiple lines running simultaneously to meet demand. After packaging, the rock candy moves into the storage and distribution phase. Proper storage is crucial to maintaining the quality of the product until it reaches the consumer. This sweet is hygroscopic, meaning it can absorb moisture from the air, which can cause the crystals to stick together or even dissolve. Therefore, it needs to be stored in a cool, dry environment. Most factories have large, climate-controlled warehouses where the packaged product is stored before distribution. These warehouses are typically kept at a constant temperature of around 20 degrees Celsius and relative humidity of 40 to 50%. The packages are usually stored on pallets to keep them off the ground and allow for easy movement with forklifts. Inventory management systems are used to track each batch of candy, ensuring that older stock is distributed first to maintain freshness. An interesting fact about storage is that, if stored properly, it has an incredibly long shelf life. Pure sugar doesn't spoil, so rock candy can theoretically last for years without degrading in quality. For domestic distribution, it's often shipped directly to retailers or regional distribution centers. For international distribution, it may be shipped by sea or air freight. During transport, it's important to maintain consistent temperature and humidity conditions to prevent any degradation of the product. Some shipments may include temperature and humidity monitors to ensure that optimal conditions are maintained throughout the journey. It is distributed globally, with major markets including North America, Europe, and Asia. In some regions, it's primarily sold as a confectionery, while in others it's also used as a traditional remedy for sore throats or as a sweetener for tea. The global market is estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of pounds annually, with steady growth projected in the coming years. This growth is driven by factors such as increasing disposable incomes in developing countries and a growing trend towards artisanal and nostalgic confectionery products in developed markets. In conclusion, the process of making rock candy is a fascinating blend of science, art, and industrial precision. From the careful sourcing and preparation of raw materials to the meticulous control of the crystallization process, every step is crucial in creating this beloved confection. The packaging and distribution stages ensure that the product reaches consumers in perfect condition, ready to be enjoyed. Whether it's being used to sweeten a cup of tea, soothe a sore throat, or simply savored as a treat, it continues to delight people around the world, just as it has for centuries. If you enjoyed learning about how rock candy is made, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content on food production.